The Super Mario Bros. Movie is finally out. Yippee! After years of waiting for this thing, it finally released this Wednesday. Now, as the self-proclaimed #1 Mario fan on the internet, I of course wanted to see this movie as soon as it came out. But I couldn't watch it on Wednesday, so I had to settle for Thursday. Well, all that matters is that I did see it, and I'm sure you all are curious to hear my thoughts on it. The critics have been pretty, mean to it. The audience, on the other hand, has absolutely loved this movie. But who cares about those nerds? Clearly only the opinion of YouTuber Odyssey Central counts, so that's what we're here to talk about today. We'll start with my basic spoiler-free thoughts before moving into my spoiler opinions, which will likely take up most of the video. Also, I obviously won't be able to show clips from the movie, but I'll also be avoiding trailer footage too, because... Lastly, this video will not be as structured as my normal videos, which I'm sure you all can tell by how goofy my editing has been in this intro, but I just want to get this video out quick, and I'm really excited to talk about this. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Let's jump right into my thoughts. Okay, so did I think the Mario movie was good? Of course I did, I'm the Mario guy. While probably not my favorite movie ever made, I still probably like the Purple Guy movie a bit more, I still had an incredible time watching this. If you've ever played a Mario game, I think it's safe to say you'll like this film. I think literally every mainline Mario game was referenced in some way. I'll skip on what those specific references were until the spoiler section, but when you all get into the theater, I'm sure there will be several times where you'll be pointing at the screen with your jaw dropped in pure excitement. When I went to see the movie, I went with my brother, and our theater was completely packed. I'm talking literally only 2 seats weren't taken, and half of those people cheered at every other reference. Again, I'll go into more detail as to what some of those were in the spoiler section, but there's a reference to something in almost every scene. But of course, references aren't the only thing that make a movie. Most people would say that's like the least important thing, but shut up movie nerds, I don't care. Next thing I want to talk about is the aesthetic stuff, which I think will be the least controversial part of the movie. The music and animation were phenomenal. I'm almost inclined to say they were the highlight of the movie. I think they captured the Mushroom Kingdom and every other location they traveled to perfectly. This movie is so colorful and an absolute joy to watch. Illumination obviously doesn't have the best reputation in the animation industry, but I think that mostly comes down to the writing of their movies. I think their work animating this one was pretty much perfect. The Mushroom Kingdom here is by far my favorite in the Mario franchise visually, and I know it would be pretty hard to translate to the games, but I kinda hope they try to in the future. Bowser's Kingdom and Rainbow Road were also fantastic. I can't think of a single visual issue with this film. Oh, and I know some people were a bit iffy on the character designs, but they work perfectly here. The music too was phenomenal. I desperately need them to release this soundtrack as soon as possible. All of the songs created for this movie were perfect. There were a few licensed songs which I would have rather not had, but otherwise, this was a perfect soundtrack. The final non-spoiler thing I want to touch on are the characters. First off, I think all of the actors did a fantastic job. Starting with Chris Pratt on Mario, the by far most controversial one of the bunch. I'm gonna be honest with you all, I never really understood the hate. He always seemed like he could work well based on the trailers, and I think he did here. Speaking of those trailers though, I think they intentionally edited it to make Chris Pratt sound as bad as possible. Like I heard a lot of people saying this before watching the movie, and yeah, they were absolutely right. I think a good 3/4 of the lines Mario says in the trailers were not in the film at all. Why they included them in the trailers, I have no idea, but they definitely picked some of the worst line readings for them. So yeah, Chris Pratt, good job. As for the other main characters, they were pretty good too. I expected Charlie Day as Luigi, Anya Taylor-Joy as Peach, and Keegan-Michael Key as Toad to do a great job, so absolutely no surprises that they did. I gotta say, I was surprised how much I liked Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong, which I do think is partially due to how DK was written in the film, but his performance was a particular highlight for me. But of course, as literally everyone expected, Jack Black as Bowser was the best character. His performance was perfect, and I think he was the best written character as well.
Five Nights at Freddy's.
It's kind of hard to talk about why though without getting into spoiler territory, so I'll hold off until then. Before I move to those, I have to mention that a lot of the side characters were also great. I especially liked Kamek in this movie. I've heard a few people like the nostalgia critics say they didn't like Cranky Kong, but I honestly thought he was fine. I think Doug Walker is just being a loser. No wait, please, I'm sorry! Okay, with that said, I think it's time to move into the spoiler stuff. I'm gonna be talking about it for the rest of the video, so if you haven't seen the movie, I highly suggest clicking off. Just know the movie is fantastic, and I think it will be best experienced without getting spoiled beforehand. Alright, all the people who care about spoilers gone? Well then let's jump right into them. King Bob-omb dies. I've been holding that in the whole video. He literally did nothing wrong. All he did was attend the wedding. I feel so bad for him. Since we were talking about characters, let's take a closer look into them to see what I liked and what I didn't like. First off, the main man himself, Mario. As someone whose favorite Mario character is Mario, well, besides you, of course. But one thing that comes with being a fan of Mario himself has to be the mischaracterization of the man over the entire internet. People say stuff like, oh, he has no personality, or oh, he's just supposed to be happy all the time, or oh, he hates Luigi, look how he stopped on his foot. Hey, who let Matt Pat in here? Shoo. But yeah, everyone always seems to somehow miss the point that Mario is meant to be a heroic, caring person who is always willing to face any danger in front of him. I think this movie displayed that Mario perfectly, and I was so happy they did. His arc of the story is really about proving himself to his family, the Mushroom Kingdom, and of course against Bowser. I think that fits as a Mario origin story perfectly, as he's set up as just some guy that runs a plumbing service with his brother, and everyone sort of thinks of him as a joke. What I loved about this story though was that while these comments did clearly annoy Mario, he was never completely defeated by them. Every obstacle he had to face in the film, Mario was willing to do it, and I think that right there is Mario. They nailed his character in the movie, and I don't think I have a single criticism for him. Another character I don't have a single criticism for is Bowser. Man, he was perfectly written. Going into the movie, I don't think they showed Bowser wanting to marry Peach in any of the trailers. That is a pretty big part of his character, so I was concerned they wouldn't have it. But no, that is his main motivation, and I was so happy about that. Bowser is both very intimidating, but is also played as a complete simp for Peach perfectly. He even gets a song in the movie in the mid-credits scene, which had my entire theater laughing. Oh, speaking of that, the reveal of Bowser's motivations also brought with it my favorite joke in the film, which was when a Koopa asked Bowser what would happen if Peach said no to him. Bowser then proceeded to instantly kill this Koopa, which I for some reason wasn't expecting and made me laugh a lot. The mix of intimidating and goofy was perfect for Bowser's character. Both him and Mario feel directly ripped from the games and how they act. While I'm on Bowser, I think I should also mention how much I loved Kamek and his interactions. My favorite scene between them was definitely Bowser practicing pickup lines with Kamek in a Princess Peach outfit. Not only was that funny, but OMG reference to my favorite 3D and 2D Mario games. Not sure if I'd go as far to say Kamek was my third favorite character behind Bowser and Mario, but his role in the movie was fantastic. The last pretty much perfect character I want to touch on in depth was Donkey Kong. He sort of acts as Mario's friendly rival in the movie, which could be gathered from the trailers, but they went farther with it than I thought they would. I did like that they never really ended up getting along perfectly, like Donkey Kong is still calling Mario a loser when they fight side by side, and even after Mario saves Donkey Kong's life, they're still bickering about it. I also liked how they could relate with each other of sort of being disappointments to their father, which made the scene where they were stuck together inside the eel a highlight. Even though they could relate to each other though, I still like how DK just snaps back at Mario saying his dad was right. That definitely got a laugh out of me. So yeah, I was pleasantly surprised with how DK was used in the film, and his rivalry with Mario was a lot of fun to watch. Our final three main characters though, Luigi, Peach, and Toad, I did have a few problems with. Their performances were all great, and I did like all of them, don't get me wrong, but I think they sort of highlight my main problem with the script of the film, the pacing. I personally think this film needed an extra 20 minutes or so, and no, I'm not just saying that because I want to see more, even though I obviously do. I think the beginning of the film just went by way too quickly, specifically Peach recruiting Mario so fast. Now yes, Mario did need to complete the obstacle course, but I wish there was some more time for Peach and Mario to interact beforehand and overall during the adventure. What they did have of her was good, I just felt like there could have been more time dedicated to building their relationship a bit. I totally buy them liking each other though, and by the halfway point in the movie, I think the pacing worked perfectly fine, but yeah, I just wish there was a bit more time. I do like that Peach and Mario didn't end up together just yet, since there definitely wasn't enough time for a full romance, but I think the movie set up a possible romance for a sequel very well. Luigi and Toad though were both very underutilized. I like both of them a lot in their scenes, but they just didn't have a lot. Luigi pretty much just vanishes from the film for the middle, which is a big shame. If he had a few more scenes building his confidence, which would then be paid off by him defending Mario at the end, I think that would have worked really well. Toad was just kind of there throughout the movie, which I guess isn't a bad thing. I enjoyed his presence, but I do kind of wish he did more than just give Peach the ice flower at the end. Overall though, I think the characters in the movie were fantastic, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing more of them in the future. Oh, before I end the character segment though, the way the Shy Guys were animated made me and my brother laugh a ton. They were just so goofy and we loved them so much. Draybones also got to basically say awkward, which was definitely the highlight of the movie. But now, I think I just have to talk about some of these references. First off, the music. Wow, was it good. I know I said that before, but the song choices here were fantastic. I was very happy to hear Fossil Falls in the Mushroom Kingdom theme, along with the other first level themes as well. One song that I was really surprised to hear was Bowser Fury's theme too. It's one of my favorite Mario tracks, and I literally jumped in my seat when they started playing it. I'm not even sure if they remixed it at all, but it fits so perfectly that they didn't need to. Some other themes that were great to hear were the menu theme from Mario Kart 8 while everyone was building their carts, and of course the Superstar theme playing throughout the final battle was perfect. It was pretty obvious that they would do that, but something being obvious doesn't make it bad because it was implemented so well. The Super Mario Bros. Super Show theme would have also been a hype thing to see if the trailers didn't show it, but it doesn't make me any less happy that it was there. The main references though come from the visuals, so you know what, I'm just gonna rapid fire through a bunch of my favorites. Obviously footage doesn't exist for most of these yet, so you'll just have to take my word on it. First off, Bowser wearing his wedding outfit from Mario Odyssey made me super happy, which should be no surprise seeing as I love everything Odyssey related. Him even having the piranha plant flowers along with him stomping on them made me laugh as well. Pauline showing up also got my theater to cheer, even if it was only a brief scene. Charles Martinet cameoing as Jumpman was also perfect. Can't think of a better place to throw him in. The Crazy Cap store being in the Mushroom Kingdom along with Tostarena showing up once again made me as an an Odyssey fan, extremely happy. But Bob Battlefield also made an appearance which was fantastic. Foreman Spike being Mario and Luigi's old boss and #1 hater made me pretty happy. He's in the beginning and end a decent amount, so I don't think he really qualifies as a cameo, but him being here was perfect. A character that does count as a cameo was King Boo coming alongside King Bob to Bowser's wedding. I was very happy to see him show up, though don't talk to my brother about it, he was not happy with it being the non-Luigi's Mansion design. The kart creator for Mario Kart 8 being directly shown was really cool. I mean, we got to see a ton of karts and wheels from the game like the Bitty Buggy and Cyber Slick tires, which, surprise, made me happy. Mario using his forward air as his finisher against Bowser was also perfect. It's one of my favorite moves from the Smash series, so seeing it was in the movie was really cool. We already knew it was going to be based on the trailers, but seeing it in the film was even better because he uses it exactly like how it works in Smash, sending Bowser straight down toward the ground. Oh, and then throwing Bowser by his tail in reference to Mario 64 was also perfect. There are a billion other references to the Mario series I didn't mention, and I'm sure a billion more that I didn't even see, but I just had to talk about those highlights. Mario wasn't the only thing referenced though, as there were actually a ton of Nintendo properties referenced in the film. First off, the movie starts with the brothers inside a place called Punch-Out, which I'm sure you all can guess is a reference to Fire Emblem. There are a ton of pictures of Punch-Out characters inside as well, like Last Joe, Doc Lewis, and of course Little Mac himself. There's also a picture of the duck from Duck Hunt here too. A ton of retro games are referenced in the New York portion of the movie. I'm sure I missed some, but I saw Balloon Fighter, Discoon, and a poster for the Ice Climbers. There are even references to some of the bigger franchises too. Mario has an R-Wing from Star Fox in his TV, a poster for F-Zero, a me appearing on Luigi's phone, and the most in-your-face reference being Mario playing Kid Icarus for the NES. I was honestly only going in expecting Punch-Out to be referenced, since Mario of course cameoed in it as the ref, so seeing all these other ones were really exciting. What I thought was pretty interesting though, is that I don't think any big Nintendo franchises were referenced. I could have just totally missed it, but I don't remember seeing any references to games like Kirby, Pokemon, Animal Crossing, Splatoon, or most shockingly, Zelda. I find it kind of suspicious that Nintendo would rather put a Kid Icarus reference up front than one based on Zelda. Not saying that means anything, and I could have totally just missed a reference to it, but what if they didn't want to put any references to big things in case they want to make movies for them? Just a thought, curious to hear what you all think about that. But yeah, I think that's it for this video. I know this wasn't the most professional review of all time or anything, but I just wanted to let out some of my thoughts here. I think this movie is a 9 out of 10 for me. If they fix the pacing issues, I think this could have been a perfect movie for me personally. I'm really looking forward to the sequel, which seems to be Yoshi based, since I think the pacing issues won't be as strong of a problem with the relationships between the characters already established. But anyways, did you hate this review because I didn't mention the sewers being labeled level 1-2? Let me know in the comments. I gotta go ahead and get to editing this video quick, so dry buns for Smash, and I'll see you guys next time.